Truth is harder than a lie. The dark seems safer than the light. And everyone has a heart that loves to hide. I'm a mess and so are you. We've built walls nobody can get through. Yeah, it may be hard, but the best thing we could ever do. Bring your brokenness and I'll bring mine. 'Cause love can heal what hurt divides, and mercy's waiting on the other side. If we're honest, if we're honest, don't pretend to be something that you're not. Living life afraid of getting caught. There is freedom found when we lay our secrets down at the cross, at the cross. So bring your brokenness and I'll bring mine. 'Cause love can heal what hurt divides, and mercy's waiting on the other side. If we're honest, if we're honest, it would change our lives. It would set us free. It's what we need to be. So bring your brokenness and I'll bring mine. 'Cause love can heal what hurt divides, and mercy's waiting on the other side.
Hey, welcome to our first ever Global Walk for Hope. We are so excited to have you here. Well, I loved seeing all those beautiful photos. Thank you to everyone who sent photos in. My name is Bethany Atherton, and I'm a board member and now official Instagram lady for
Yes.
Hope. Let's just talk a minute about the fact that we're doing a live stream. I've never done a live stream before, and Amber is just beginning to do some live stuff through her social media. So this event started out as something that was going to be a local awareness walk, and she contacted me like back in early March, and we were planning on having it in downtown Farmington, Missouri, and just all of a sudden COVID-19 happened to all of us, and Amber called me and we were just like, okay, now what? And obviously a lot of different organizations have been starting to use the internet where they hadn't before, and to utilize live streaming for events. But not gonna lie, this was a challenge.
Yes.
Especially to throw together within just a few weeks' time. And real quick, we just want to acknowledge everyone who's been affected by this horrible virus. I mean, I know just for our family, I mean, God has taken care of us and we've had everything that we need, but it's hard enough just doing the quarantine and not being able to spend time with friends and family. So we just want to acknowledge, especially if anyone knows people who have passed away from this virus or are fighting it right now in the hospital, very sick. We want to reach out to our healthcare workers everyone who is fighting. I know so many nurses and friends that are in the medical field that are fighting this directly on the front lines, as well as people who are essential workers, and they're, not only they're exposing themselves to the virus and still having to work crazy hours, a lot of them, as well as people who are being financially affected by this, whether they can't work or just the different situations in this massive economic shutdown. And we just want to say that at Hope we have been and are continuing to lift you all up in our prayers. But in the midst of all the mess and all of the crazy overturn that has happened during this virus, we have just seen God do some really awesome things just across the country and in our own families too. Just all of a sudden just getting to hit pause on our usually extremely busy lives. A lot of us just spending so much more family time and just quality time together. I've seen our communities really reaching out and showing love to each other. Even we have friends that have done like birthday parades for people, and people who are adopting seniors who did not get to have the senior year that they were waiting and hoping for. And I know many brides that have had to cancel or postpone their weddings, and just seen a lot of people really loving on each other. But what it was able to do for us is take an event that was going to be a fairly small local thing and instantly make it have the potential to be global, to have global reach. So that's why we decided to use the hashtag Global Walk for Hope, because we do have the potential for global reach now. And if you are watching right now from another country, please drop us a comment. Let us know where you're watching from, and just go ahead, anybody, just go ahead and drop comments in our Facebook now to let us know where you're watching from, because the person who is watching from the farthest away will be winning one of our giveaways. So stay tuned for that. And with that, I will turn it over to our lovely founder, Miss Amber.
Hey everybody, I'm so excited to have you join us today for this Global Walk for Hope. And those who know me really well know I'm not techie, and so this was a challenge and an opportunity to just really reach a whole variety of people that otherwise we wouldn't have been able to have contact with. So I thank you guys for those who are already hosting watch parties. If you're not hosting a watch party there on Facebook yet, go ahead and host one. After we return, after the first testimony, we're going to give you guys, we're going to give a giveaway. We have like 5 giveaways during this time. Ta-da! And they're awesome. Like we have some $20 gift cards for some different places, a $25 gift card for the Nozomi project, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. That's for the scavenger hunt. So those of you who pre-register, you should have got the last couple of answers for the scavenger hunt here at the beginning. Again, this is my co-host Bethany Atherton, and we are giving 5 giveaways during this time. And so send your scavenger hunt answers in as well. But I want to give our first giveaway away to Jessica McCarty. She is from Missouri, and she was our first person to register for this event. And she is getting this beautiful journal that says "Boundaries are beautiful." Can you guys see it? And a Hope tote bag along with an ink pen. I love these journals. They were something that were just recently created. We wanted to do some fun giveaways and highlight and just gift hope out all around the world. And so boundaries are beautiful is just one of the taglines that I use whenever we talk about like healing and overcoming our past experiences of sexual abuse, misuse, and trauma. For those of us who have had boundaries cross really early on in our life, it's hard to have boundaries, whether it be with our friends, our families, or in any relationship. And so when we are able to start putting those boundaries in place, they really are a beautiful thing, because it helps us to have healthy relationships. Boundaries help us to have healthy relationships. And so with that, I want to introduce the first testimony. We have 3 of them for you today. Her name is Kelsey. Kelsey. She is, oh my gosh, I just love her. She is, anybody who comes through Hope, I call them my Hope girls. So it doesn't matter if you're 12 or if you're in your 70s, I call you a Hope girl. Kelsey's one of my Hope girls. Was brought into my life, and I just got the opportunity to just love on her and encourage her and inspire her. And then through that, I asked her to just share a testimony of her life. I didn't give any direction, but here's about a 3-minute testimony, so stick around, and afterwards we'll announce our next giveaway for the host party.
Hi, my name is Kelsey, and I am a survivor of human trafficking. I just wanted to share a little bit of my story and my testimony with you guys today. I met a man via social media app and was talking to him for about 6 months online, and was groomed and convinced to move to New York City. Once I got there, I found out that he was not who he said he was actually a pimp, and I was held and convinced that that was where I was supposed to be and that I needed to be there, or there would be violence, if I were to leave. After being there for about 3 years, I did manage to escape in April of 2018. I was taken to a safe house in Alabama, where I then requested that I please get moved to Missouri so that I could be near my son and my family. When I got to the shelter in Missouri, they were more specialized in domestic violence, and they didn't have as much experience with sexual assault and human trafficking. So they connected me with a program called HOPE. And HOPE stands for Healing Your Past Experiences. And through meeting Amber McCutcheon, and she's the director of HOPE, just understanding a lot of why I was feeling the way I was feeling, and helping me get back to a sense of normal. I hadn't lived in the real world for almost 3 years. And there was a lot of hurt and a lot of anger and a lot of confusion. And Amber she didn't let me go. She didn't let me give up as many times as I called her and tried to. And she prayed with me, and she prayed for me, and she helped surround me with good, influential friends that were not there to hurt me or to take anything from me, which is probably the first time in my life that I've had people who invested in me because they cared about me as a person. But Amber's program, and Amber, she lives this as her life on a daily basis. This isn't just a class or just a seminar, this is her every day. And I got to see that, and I got to experience a lot of change in my life because of that. And now I get to reach out and help others that are in situations. And I've come out of it. I'm definitely on the other side now. I have a house and a car and a 5-month-old son, and life is finally at a point where it's normal. I work a job where I get paychecks and I pay my bills, and I do it on my own. And had it not been for people like Amber and Hope and all of the other survivors that I've met that have walked alongside me, I don't know that I would be where I'm at today. And, as much as I want to reach out and help others, this is also to say thank you, because Hope changed my life.
Wow.
That's the first time Bethany got to see the testimony, by the way. So.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That is just amazing. Wow. I just love that. And you could just see she's just like beaming and just...
Yes.
Like you
She
just
has
see
come
the
so
healing.
far.
It's like,
Yes, healing is beautiful. Like healing
to
is
come
gorgeous.
out of something that dark and that scary. And that's just, wow.
And it was a process, it wasn't
Yeah,
something
for
like
sure.
when she said, like, I didn't let her go, like, there were times that she wanted to go back to what she knew, and sometimes, like, even in my own journey, like, I would say I was content, but I was miserably content, but I knew what that was. It's familiar. And, same for her with being trafficked, and that, like, she knew the expectations, whereas what healing looked like and overcoming looked like, that was unknown. And it was foreign. And sometimes, we get in that situation and we fear the unknown.
For sure.
And so we get
even
stuck,
if what we're comfortable with is something terrible.
Exactly. But we fear that. And so we get stuck where we're at. And so, like, she pushed through that. And I'm so proud of her and what she's doing and accomplishing in life now. And, like, she is an overcomer. She is a survivor. And,
Absolutely.
what has happened in her life doesn't define her. you know, and so she has, I don't know, she's come so far and just blessed my heart to be able to be a small part of her journey in that
For
aspect.
sure.
So I hope that you guys are encouraged by Kelsey and her story. And we're going to post these testimonies on our YouTube channel separately. So if you guys want to share those with somebody, you're going to be able to share them outside of this event as well.
That will be awesome. Well, I am thrilled to announce after that Kelsey is the winner of our watch party host giveaway, and she will be winning a $20 gift certificate to Delivering Hope online boutique. Delivering Hope is the ministry of my dear friend Gabby, her daughter, who is one of the bravest women that I know, and strongest. She was wanting to open a birthing center in Haiti and to become a midwife. She's in training right now to become a midwife, and this Delivering Hope is her website. She just opened with a boutique. A lot of the items that she has featured on there are Haitian made, including Haitian coffee,
Yes.
which I'm a huge fan of. So congratulations, Kelsey. Go find you something beautiful on Gabby's website.
So I will be sending out that info to you. I'll be mailing that out to her.
All right, so next up, let's just do a little Q&A and kind of discuss why we're doing what we're doing. So if you want to just kind of like outline why hope, like what is
Why
the
do I
mission
do
of hope, and why do you do hope?
So our mission at Hope is to raise awareness, connect people, and encourage healing. And really, Hope began in 2010 when I was looking for a need to be met in my own life. My mother had passed away earlier in that year. I'm an only child, and my dad was my perpetrator. And I hadn't always stayed silent, but I hated confrontation. And I had realized that at the age of 32, I had never dealt with being sexually abused from a very early on age. I have memories as early as 2. And so at that point in time, I was already a mom to 7. So those of you who don't know me personally, I have a few kids.
Just a few.
A few. And at that point in time, you know, I was realizing that I was doing the best I could as a mom with what tools I already had. But I knew that I needed to heal and overcome. I was confident in certain areas of my life, but not in every area of my life. And so as I began a journey looking to overcome and looking to really know, like, I was not alone, you know, I remember looking online at a website, and I can't even tell you what the website was, but like scrolling across the bottom, it says, to keep silent keeps the cycle going. And I thought, no, not for the next generation. And I knew that I had to choose to heal, because healing is a choice. Healing is a gift.
Yeah.
That, you know, when we're presented with any gift, like if I gave you one of these gifts, like you could choose to receive it or to reject it, or
Yeah,
to
for
stick it
sure.
away and not open it for a while, you know, like not to utilize it.
Well, and then something as a mom, I feel like too, is just like, I do not want my kids
Yes.
to have to deal with this, you know, be carrying this on. So that's,
Well, and as a mom, like that's our biggest fear, I would say, is that your kids ever go through
for sure.
what you went through. And so I will tell you, and I'll say it time and time again, anybody who hangs out with me, like confidence is the only thing a perpetrator fears. And whether it's a sexual perpetrator or a perpetrator, Satan, who is a perpetrator and a molester of souls. You know, and so how do we become confident? And those are all things that, oh my gosh, we could spend a whole lot of time on. So that's another day. If you have questions, hang out and we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
but,
for
you know,
sure.
just kind of wrapping it up shortly, just to kind of why I do what I do. In September 2010, I had went to a place that caters to women, who help women. And I thought, oh my goodness, if they knew of any resources in our area for survivors of sexual abuse, sexual trauma, any of those kind of things, they would know. And I went up to the director at the time and I asked, and she says 4. And I raised my hand and I bowed my head because I couldn't even look at her. I had so much guilt and shame on me. And she says, Amber, I don't. And I was just crushed. A couple hours later, she brings me a pile of VHS tapes that tells you how dated it was, and a binder, and says, hey, Amber, I want you to pray about teaching this class. And it was a class about sexual integrity and just different things on that. But the tools that she put in my hand at that point in time really was where hope was conceived.
Set the
you know,
stage, yeah.
it set the stage, and God just began doing a whirlwind of healing in my life to the point that like 9 months later, he gave me the name Hope. And I feel like hope was really birthed at that point in time. So hope stands for healing our past experiences. And the fact is that no matter who we are, we all have past experiences that make us who we are today, for better
Absolutely.
and for worse, you know. And so, you know, I argued with God. I'll be honest, like it wasn't something I just fully embraced at the beginning. Me and him had a lot of discussions, but he brought me back to Romans 8:28, and that's really my life verse, and that's what I live, I strive for every day, is where he says he can't take it all. You know, even that dark,
Yes,
damaged,
everything,
ugly stuff that nobody wanted to talk about often in my life. And he uses it for our good and for his glory. And so I love being able to see that in others' lives as well. And so as the ministry just kept growing, we became a nonprofit in 2017, and one of the goals at that time was to have a walk at some point in time, and we just were praying about timing and things like that. And so this is how this began.
Yeah, it's like that's nice.
But we
second
chose
question.
April because April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and it's also Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And sexual assault is one of the words, the language that so many that I have worked with and talked with and just come alongside over the last decade would not associate with. They wouldn't say
Right.
that they had been assaulted. It's a violent term. And there are those who experience sexual violence. I'm not discrediting that at all. But there are others who their perpetrators were very methodical, and they made it feel like it was your fault. And I'm telling you, it wasn't your fault. It wasn't your plan. It was their plan. And like your part in this is to choose to heal, like to choose to overcome and not let that control you anymore. Like I got to the point I was tired of my being bullied by my past. Like that's where I got. And so I know that there's others who can relate to that. And so looking at maybe changing the language of, you know, like what do you call it? Do you call it abuse? Do you call it being molested? Do you call it trauma, misuse, those kind of things? And like being more inclusive in that to where we acknowledge, yeah, that's me. Like I do need to heal. Like there was a boundary that was crossed, and I have after effects from that. It doesn't matter how far past the boundary it was, like, but there was a boundary that was crossed.
The first step to healing is acknowledging.
Yeah, absolutely.
That there's
absolutely.
a wound.
So that's kind of what we were looking for when we were starting this event, was to kind of like change the language, bring some awareness, and that prevention is possible, and that healing is essential.
Absolutely.
And part of that is like, if you are somebody who's a survivor of sexual abuse, misuse, or trauma, or you would identify as being sexually assaulted, like your healing is essential in stopping it for the next generation. So that's part of prevention in
yeah,
that.
for sure.
But like I know that there's some really great resources out there, like Darkness to Light, who does training, online training. We highlighted them this week, so go check out our Facebook or Instagram on that. Yep, they have some trainings online, especially during this time where kids are spending more time at home. You know, some people have safe families and some people don't. Yeah. And so it's a really, that's been really heavy on my heart lately, is the kids are at home where their safe place was school or church or out in the community. And that's not where they're at today. So anyways.
Awesome.
All right.
Really cool.
I think we have another testimony coming.
Yes. We have the beautiful Miss Liette, and her testimony will be next. So, another one I haven't heard yet.
I know. I'm so excited.
Hello. My name is Lietta Leonard, and I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to talk to you about roots. That is what God laid on my heart praying for this video. So I love to work in the garden, and you have to get rid of weeds, and I fail at it every year. I'll say that up front. But I work at it, and the toughest roots to get out are the deepest roots, and they will often above the ground have big thick trunks. I actually use a small garden axe to get those roots out. I even got attacked by a nest of hornets a couple of years ago while working on trying to get some roots out of the ground. It's hard work. I was born to two amazing parents that treasured the air that I breathed. They prayed for me for 14 years and adored me so much. And they were very overprotective. They would only allow me to go 3 places as a child to be babysat or watched. Unfortunately, 2 of those 3 places were not safe places to be. But my parents didn't know that. They would have never allowed that. They just didn't know. So The sexual abuse in my life started whenever I was 3 or 4 years old. That's my earliest memory, from the husband of one of my babysitters, who were also friends of my parents. So as I got older, I didn't know it, but these things were like tree trunk, big, huge roots in my life. They made up who I was, and I didn't know that. Like, you can't comprehend that at 5. You can't comprehend that at 12. I didn't comprehend that at 16. And it's really hard. It was really hard. And 7 or 8 years ago, I started really seeking God, and I realized there were these tree trunk size roots. And I can tell you, my best garden pickaxe couldn't budge them. Like, I could have hacked away all day long. I did some hacking. I will still try to hack sometimes on my own before I look to God. And He so gently corrects me because He is the healer in our life. I met Amber McCutcheon about 6 years ago. I declined going to her Hope classes for about 1.5 years because I was good. I was fine. My parents took me to counseling. I was good. And then I finally went. I ended up taking her class 3 times, actually. And that was the beginning of me finally allowing God to go at those roots in my life. I could never have gotten to those roots. And had I not gotten to a place where I was crying out to Him for help, had I not taken Hope classes to even recognize those roots, I was destroyed. My life would have been destroyed. I was selfish and prideful. I was a terrible wife, a not great mother, terrible some days even. I didn't have patience with myself. I didn't have patience with anyone else. And I thought that everyone else was the problem, which seems so, like, you'd think you'd know that. But I really didn't know that that was a problem back then. I couldn't see it. So I took Hope classes, and I really started seeking Jesus. And one by one, God has gone at those roots in my life. The truth of His Word has gone at those roots in my life. The relationships that I made in Hope and the encouragement that I received from Hope has helped me to learn to surrender so God could go at those roots in my life. So I just wanted to share encouragement today for anyone that has roots. And I can tell you, if you struggle with depression and anxiety or lots of pride, those are all symptomatic of having roots in your life that you need God's help with. So I encourage you today to, if you've thought about hope in the past or you're thinking about it now, give it a chance. Reach out for help. Admit that you need help and cry out to God. Jesus, oh my goodness, He is my healer. He is my director. When I struggle, when I fall on my face, when I am hurtful, when I am wrong, He is kind. He is just. He is truth. So I encourage you today to reach out for help and know that there are people and resources here to help you, and there is a God that created you with a distinct purpose in mind, and He is just waiting on you to tell Him that you need His help. Be encouraged today. Thank you.
There we go. Awesome. Well, that was a great word of encouragement from Lietta. I love her illustration. I think all of us, like you were saying, everyone has a past to deal with, good or bad, and I would say it's safe to say that everyone has had something bad to work through, and you can't really take care of what's grown out of it until you deal with the roots. So I really appreciate that from her. Well, our watcher who is joining us from the furthest away is Grace Atherton in Indiana. So Grace, you are the winner of a $20 Hope gift certificate to our online store. So you can check that out at totryhope.com. We have some items available in the store right now, but a lot more that will be added within the next week. And also for anyone else watching who is interested in either the t-shirts that we are wearing or any of our other Hope shirts and the curriculum as well, go check out our website and our online store for that. So we'd like to take a little time to ask a few questions. These are some questions that are really personal to anyone who is experiencing or has experienced abuse. And first one is for someone who is saying or thinking, what happened to me wasn't that bad, or it wasn't as bad as XYZ, whatever. So what would you say?
How would I address that?
Yeah, how would you address that?
So I often draw a line right down the middle of a paper, and I will show that everything on this side is healthy, and then we reach this line, and anything on this side, there was a boundary crossed. And so it doesn't matter if it was just past that line or if it was like way over here. And I've had a lot of girls that would play the comparison game. Well, it wasn't that bad.
For sure. Yeah.
And what I would do is I would ask, you know, do you have any after effects of that? And when I say that, like, is it affecting the way that you make decisions? Is it affecting your life, your sleep, your physically even, you know? And like, we have a lot of, and I will tell you, like, in my own life, like, every part of my life was affected by my past. And every relationship in my life was affected by my past. Now, not everybody's is, you know, but like, if it was like, well, I was touched inappropriately by this person, and you're jumpy when other people touch you, well, you still have after effects.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and so, well, and I've had one person, well, was it really trauma if I enjoyed it? Well, you were 12 and they were 27. You know, like, you didn't choose it, but like, God designed us for sex to be pleasurable, right? And so, like, having an understanding that, like, when a boundary is crossed, a boundary is crossed.
It's crossed, yeah.
And it's your choice whether or not you want to overcome and heal from it, you know. But if we can't even acknowledge it,
you can't heal.
Yeah, you can't heal from it, you know. And so there are a lot of great tools in the curriculum. I designed my own curriculum about 3 years ago, and recorded it in front of a live audience of 40 ladies because I just wanted to keep it real. Whether, you know, you're sitting in your living room and you're watching it in your own space at your own pace, kind of going through that, or it can be done in groups as well. And so if you are looking for resources, then check that out. We also have a digital download that's readily available for everyone as well on the website. That would help acknowledge some of the things, like maybe your coping skills, and a lot of other things that can come as after effects of what we went through.
Like
So.
some of the symptoms that you might be
That you're like, oh, I call them aha moments because, like, if we don't know, we don't know, right? And I would often say, I'm fine. And I find that as a theme throughout so many. We're like, no, I'm fine. Because we really believe that, but like, we believe a lie. Like, I was not fine. I was a hot mess. And I'm still a work in progress, like, don't even get me wrong. But I am not who I was, and I'm still working towards my potential. But like, I'm a whole lot more confident than I ever was. And healthy relationships are, oh my gosh, they're a beautiful thing.
Yes, that's awesome. All right, well, the next question is a tough one, but no, a lot of situations where this has been the case. I am not believed. What do I do?
So I will tell you, because I had people who would not believe me, right? They would want to minimize it or not believe me. I will tell you that whether somebody believes you or not, it doesn't change the fact that it happened. Like, you are the authority of your testimony, of your story. Like, nobody can discredit your story. And so if you told a safe person, and maybe it was in your family, and you told somebody and they didn't believe you, tell somebody else, especially if you're a minor. Get the help that you need. I'm always available. If I believe you, I'll just tell you outright, I believe you. And I'm not going to say, well, that doesn't sound like it doesn't add up, or I won't ever tell you that. Like, that's not how I roll, by no means. You can reach out to me on any social media platform or email me, and we can make contact in that. But like, I would encourage you to find a safe person, because we all need to have that safe person. that you know that you can trust, that you can be vulnerable with, because not everybody has our best interests at heart. And I will also tell you that, like, you know, my mom was one of the first people that I did tell when I was 11, when I realized what was going on in my family wasn't going on in everybody else's family.
Normal, yeah.
But I didn't understand at the time that she wouldn't deal with it because she had never dealt with something that she had went through. And so sometimes when people don't want to believe us, it's because they have stuff that they didn't never deal with, and it just would bring up too much for them. And so that's something to, you know, like, it's a different perspective that maybe you haven't thought about, especially if you're like crushed like I was, like you just were wanting to be believed and you wanted things to change. But like, if they don't know how to heal, they can't give you what they don't have.
Right.
And so I think that goes back to, like, why is it so important to choose to heal and to overcome, is because, like, I can't want it for my kids but not go do it.
No, you have to pave the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the last question is tied to that, and it's, what do you do if I'm too scared to tell anybody?
Yeah. So one of my favorite things to do is to go into high schools, middle schools, and talk. Like, I love to talk about having healthy relationships and boundaries and overcoming and all these things. And I often, like, that's a great question that comes up. And when that generation is like, hey, Amber, I want to talk, I'm like, you want to call? And they're like, no, I want to text. And I was like, oh, that's how we're talking. And I'm not, you know, I want to be approachable for all generations. And so oftentimes, like, they are scared. They're scared of what is my family going to think? And then if it was somebody who was close to the family or a family member, we feel responsible for, like, as somebody who is a survivor myself, like, you feel responsible for, like, if the family would break up, you know, like, then that would be on you. And I would go back to, it wasn't your plan and it wasn't your choice when boundaries were crossed. Like, the other person, the person who inflicted pain on you, the person who crossed that boundary with you, they made that choice. And when they made that choice, you know, it's not a healthy relationship. I don't care who they are in regards to you. And so if you're scared, do you have somebody that you do trust? Do you have a teacher? Do you have a friend? Do you have a counselor? Do you have a pastor? Do you have a church? You know, and we're here at Hope. We're available to help, you know, pave the journey as way, you know, kind of help you figure out who do you have.
Like, if you don't have a
you're
safe
not
person
alone.
in your life, yes,
you're
like,
not
message
alone.
us by all means.
Yeah, you're not alone, and we'll help you figure out how to make connections and things like that. You know.
Yes.
And that's part of it, you know, connecting. That's what I said, raising awareness, connecting people, and encouraging healing is really our mission here at Hope.
All right, awesome. Well, next up we have our last testimony. And
so this testimony is Heather. I've actually not ever met Heather in person. She took Hope classes with one of our facilitators that we have over several states. And I am just excited for you all to hear her story and be encouraged by her.
Hello, my name is Heather Stewart. Some of you may know me as Heather Mahalik. I'm 24 years old. I grew up in the St. Louis area, graduated Fox High School in Arnold. I currently live in Bixby, Missouri. I'm married to a wonderful man named Brandon. I have a beautiful 3-year-old daughter named Gemma. I'm speaking out today because I am a sexual assault survivor, and I couldn't have done it without Amber McCutcheon, which is who asked me to speak out today in this video and is who is leading this walk. So a little over a year ago, I was sitting here watching a video much like the one you're watching now, and it's because of that video that I'm still alive today. I put a lot of faith into that video and it changed my life. I'm now a new, changed woman. I no longer consider myself a victim, but I consider myself a survivor. So here's my story. On March 13th, 2017, my daughter had just turned a year old. We had a huge, elaborate birthday party for her. All the family came and our friends. It was a really great time. I remember posting on social media that day how excited I was and how happy I was in my life, how everything was just going perfect. I had a beautiful baby girl. I was recently engaged. I was doing college classes to be an attorney, and I had a great job at the time. I had been at the job for almost a year. I just felt really happy with my life. But little did I know, in just one short week, my life would be turned upside down completely. I promised I wouldn't cry, so work with me here. So I went back to work a few days after the birthday party, and there's a new guy working. Almost immediately I got that weird gut feeling, the eerie feeling you get. He was just a little too nice, a little too flirtatious. And over the next couple of days, that man made several sexual remarks to me, touched me in inappropriate ways, and threatened me and scared me enough not to come forward and to tell right then. That's when it started. Then on March 20th, 2017, just 1 week after my daughter had turned 1 week after I made the post on Facebook about being so happy, I was raped. It took me another 2 days and another physical assault to come forward because I was so scared. I'm shaking right now, so I'm sorry. It's still a little hard for me to talk out about it. The hospital was hard and scary and confusing. I felt a little bit re-victimized all over again as they swabbed and plucked everything all over my body. And trial was way harder. Way harder. The months leading up to trial were agonizing. The things that they say about you in the courtroom can be very horrible. But once I took the stand and I got to speak out and people got to hear how I felt about it and my version of it, I felt very empowered. And then we heard guilty of first-degree rape. Those were the words that rang across the silent courtroom that day. I had 3 full rows of people sitting there with me, and we all cried tears of joy. That man was then later sentenced to 25 years in prison. I thought that would be the end of my agony, my pain. I thought that would be the end of what happened to me, and my life would just start going back to normal. But I was very, very wrong. The entire first year after I was raped, a hatred and anger fueled inside of me, which then led me down a deep, dark road of depression. I got into a place so dark in my mind that I no longer recognized myself in the mirror. 2018 Christmas was my worst. I wasn't working. I quit my job. I wasn't doing school. I was barely living. I couldn't function, barely got off the couch or the bed. I spent very little time with my daughter, which breaks my heart. I felt miserably lost and broken at the point I wanted to die. New Year's 2019, my fiance at the time, Ricky, sat me down and he told me, "When I look at you, I look into a deep, lost, dark, black hole." After that, I sought counseling, but I needed something deeper. Then I found Amber and did her 8-week women's class. It was a hope class on DVD, 8 sessions of it. And I learned that there's other women out there like me, other women that had been through the same thing that I had been through, and they had been dealing with the same situations that I had, and that immediately gave me hope. I continued with the 8-week class and 3 times a week counseling, and then I began going to church, and I found Jesus very quickly afterwards. I put all my life into turning my mental state around and bettering my life. I put everything, all my eggs in one basket. This was it. It was either make it or break it. After that point, I really started becoming at peace with myself. I had to learn to forgive, not for my attacker, but for me, because I could never be at peace with myself or at peace with what happened if I didn't forgive him. It's still hard for me to talk about it to this day, of course, but I'm doing much better. I can now minister to other people. I speak out at rallies and youth rallies and women's conferences, and I often look back into the Bible at one of my favorite quotes, and it says, "Be still and know that I am God," because you will get through this. God will get you through this. You can bring yourself through this. You're not alone. You are empowered. There are so many other people out there who are going through the same thing that you are going through, and you should not suffer in silence. So I just hope that this is a little bit of an encouraging message to anybody who's going through a hard thing in life, or anyone that needs an encouragement or a pick-me-up. As a sexual assault survivor, I'm no longer a victim, and neither are you. Thank you for listening to this message.
Oh my goodness, Heather, I just want to thank you for using your voice to just let us know that we're not alone. It takes a lot of courage to be able to share your story, and there were a few parts in that I just wanted to highlight and encourage others with as well. I know she mentioned like going to the hospital and even going to court, and oftentimes people will not report or go because of the fear of what's going to happen. But I hope that you were encouraged through that like when she got to have her day in court, that like it was part of her healing journey. And I will tell you, like, it's not part of every person's journey. It's not. But if you feel like it is, then go for it. And like, I promise you that you will not be alone in court, right? And there'll be others who rally around you and encourage you. And that's really like the heart behind the whole event today, is to know that as survivors, that I know that I am not alone. That's really where it started 10 years ago for me. In that healing journey, is just wanting to know that I wasn't alone.
For sure.
You know, that there were other people's, I called it my crazy. There are other people who understood my crazy. Like, we just process a little bit differently, you know, because of our past hurts and things like that. And so we don't know how to have healthy relationships if those relationships have all been broken. And so creating a new normal, it's kind of a tagline around our house, is like, you know, we didn't want that old normal anymore. We wanted a healthy new normal. And so we create that new normal in that. And so, you know, as supporters, it takes our friends coming alongside us that know how to have healthy relationships. And that's why we did the gray shirts, where it's, you are not alone. Like, whether you're a survivor or a supporter, we're all in this together. And like somebody else had pointed out to me, like, everyone knows someone. Like, nobody could say, I don't know anyone. If you say that, it's because you don't know that story. Like, you know, often people who went to school with me, they're like, oh my gosh, I never knew. And I was like, because I didn't really make it public, you know, like, I was a cheerleader and I was all these other things, and I coped in a lot of different ways that were really a lot acceptable in society.
Sure.
And even praised but
the overachiever.
The overachiever, yeah. Like, I didn't realize, oh my gosh, but like, I never reached the goal that I was going for. You know, I was always like feeling less than, and it fed worthless for me in my life and things like that. But I just, again, want to thank Heather for sharing and taking courage to do that, because I know it does take courage. And so thank you. And I know Bethany has another giveaway. I love these giveaways. I love being able to love on you guys today.
So we would like to thank one of you for staying tuned through this video and watching with us. So we have a lovely Redefined Hope gift card for Miss Angie Forrester Tomlinson.
Thank you, Angie, for hanging out with us today.
Thank you, Angie, for watching. And Amber, you want to talk a little bit about?
I do. So the Redefined Hope, you can find them. We'll get you the information on that. You can shop online. We got you a $20 gift card for that. They are the boutique for the Hope Center Indy out in Indianapolis, Indiana. Yes. They are the largest residential facility for sex trafficking victims, and I love them. We went out and did a training with them, and they just have a phenomenal program going on out there, and so we wanted to support that ministry as well, and so that is why we chose them as one of our giveaways.
And they have a beautiful boutique. I have actually been there, and they've got clothes and shoes and a little bit of everything in there, and it's all really cute. And it's like is it like mindful fashion, or it's like sustainably produced, and a lot of it is supporting women who have come out of similar situations in impoverished countries. So that's really cool to know. So next, we want to announce our scavenger
I think we have
hunt.
one more question.
We have one? Okay.
Did we already do furthest away?
Yeah.
Okay. So the question is, someone is interested about how they can find a Hope class.
Okay. So the question was, how can you find a Hope class? Well, we have facilitators in about 8 states right now. If you want to message, email me at amber@2tryhope.com. I can let you know if there's one in your area. There's also individual sets of curriculum that you can do in the privacy of your own home. One of the ways that we can do that as well is if you get an individual kit and you want to kind of somebody walk along with you, but there's not anybody locally, you can go through a session and we can set up times to talk as well. I keep myself available to be able to kind of be part of that journey with you. And go from just kind of go from there as well. So we have options in that, and I would just encourage you to, like I said, reach out through the email, and we can set up a phone call and things like that as well. So
awesome.
All right, ready for another giveaway?
Yes.
So we did the scavenger hunt. I wanted to kind of keep it, I mean, so many people are like, I hear the term stuck at home, and like, I hate the word stuck because it's just negative, but like, you've had more time at home lately, right? And so maybe being creative with the way how you spend your time. And so I thank you guys. There were so many who participated in this scavenger hunt. And so we were looking for the first one who had all the right answers, and we are going to be posting those answers on social media. So if you participated and you wanted to know the answers, keep watching, because I know Bethany's making us look good on Instagram and Facebook, so like she's the techie one. But Beth Ogden, you are the winner. You had all the answers right. Congratulations, Beth. So there were 12 questions, and it kind of took you to a journey through different resources that we wanted you to be familiar with, things that we back and that we appreciate that are out there, to kind of come alongside each other and you just need to be aware of them. Like, they were really great.
And stay tuned on our Instagram and our Facebook as well, because in the next few weeks we will be continuing to highlight our partner ministries and the ministries that are in the same mission and have the same heart. So you want to talk about the gift card is for Nozomi Project. The Nozomi Project is out of Japan, and their tagline is beauty out of brokenness. It is a ministry that went in, and after the tsunami, they gathered up the shards of all of the broken pottery and things like that, and they make gorgeous pieces, just gorgeous pieces. And so Nozomi in Japanese means hope. Love that.
And so I love that, like, as God was like putting the details of our giveaways together, like we wanted to highlight all these different things. At the end, we realized that all of our gift cards all have the theme of hope. Every single one of them have the theme. We had delivering hope, and the redefined hope, Nozomi, and then the hope. So all of these that come together, and like we wanted to just encourage, because it doesn't matter who you are. Like, we could all identify with some kind of brokenness.
Yes.
You know, we've all been hurt and betrayed in some form or fashion. You know, whether it was sexual or not. Like, we can all come together in that unity and understanding of that. And so I think we've got one more question before we close, because we wanted to keep it at an hour for you guys.
Someone was wondering, what are some hardships Hope has had to overcome?
Oh, hardships that Hope has had to overcome. That's a really great question. So I am not techie, and nor do I have a degree to do what I do and all these other things. It's been God opportunities from the beginning. And some of the hardest things that have come is, one, figuring out how to be a healthy nonprofit. And we're still in the process of that, you know. And so, and also how to make Hope sustainable in that aspect of financially and all these other things. Because, like, those who know me really well, like, I just want to come love on you. And I'm like, I don't want anything in return. And I'm like, I know that there's a time and place that, like, I can do that. And so there's others like Bethany and other board members who are like, okay, Amber, so some wisdom in this kind of thing. Right. And so, you know, figuring out how to be a healthy nonprofit. Because I talk about healthy relationships.
Right. And
so
I think the thing is that we want to be able to expand this ministry so that you can reach more people and equip more facilitators and have more opportunities, as you've already had some pretty awesome opportunities to speak at some seminars and teach classes in various places. We just like to see more of that and be able to see the ministry of Hope grow and expand. And knowing that, I think probably one of the biggest transitions for me, and I don't know if it would be hardship, but it was a harder season, is like transitioning from, like, I was the one who did the Hope classes and I was the one hands-on with everybody, to now we have this curriculum that was created, and it's equipping others with the tools, and those who teaching others how to teach, right? Yes. And I love that, because then it's not a one-woman show. This is not an Amber thing. And that's really like the O in Hope is, like, we can look up here, like, that is us linking arms as an army, marching forward in this journey of life and journey of healing, whether it be prevention or overcoming and all of these different things. And so, you know, I'm like you guys, you know, I get discouraged sometimes, and so just being able to keep the focus the main thing, and looking to God to be my strength and the one to give direction and provision and all of those things. I mean, it was his idea in the first place. Absolutely. Right. So this is his ministry. Yeah. And I know that, like, maybe for some of you guys, like, looking at it, no, you're not going to see scriptures like plastered all over our website and things like that. And I'll tell you why. Like, I've never really openly said that out on a public platform before, but, like, you know, God brought me back to an understanding of when I was a teenager and I was
angry at God, because I'm like,
Yes.
well, if you're God and if you're a loving God, then why? You know, and I feel like there are so many others out there just like me that were angry, and even if they acknowledged who God was or not, you know. And so I want to be
they've
very,
had some picture of God
yes,
twisted.
oh my gosh,
or
like he's
God
an
was
angry,
part of your
like
abuse,
no,
or
like he was
yeah.
his plan. Well,
Yeah,
no, it wasn't his plan, and like that was part of like what God brought me to when He gave me Romans 8:28 10 years ago. He also brought me to John 10:10, where it says the thief. The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And it was like an aha moment for me. Like, it wasn't God's plan for me to be betrayed by my earthly father.
But then
God took what was happened, what Satan meant to destroy my life and my family, and He uses it for my good and for His glory. And that's how I get to be His hands and feet and come alongside others. And so our curriculum, you know, it can be faith-based or non-faith-based, but it's set up in a way that, like, it's still speaking truth and it's still equipping you with tools to overcome.
The principles are there, even
The
if
principles
it's not,
are there, absolutely.
it's not all out in the open.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yep.
Awesome.
All right, anything else we need to do before? I want to thank you guys, like, for being part of this pioneering event. Like, I know this was really new for us. There have been several of you guys staying tuned for this whole hour that we decided to do this global walk for hope. And it took many people really coming together in a short amount of time to make this happen. And ultimately, I just want to thank God for giving direction and provision and all of that. And so
we would love to thank our techie guys.
Yes, Isaiah
Skaggs and Owen
Punches. They're awesome. Thank you guys very much
rocked this for us.
for making this happen, for this being a possibility. Because without, again, like I said, I'm not techie. They make us look good. So anyway.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Anything else you want to say?
I think we're good.
Well, check out our social media. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe. See, she makes me. Y'all are gonna get a lot. Subscribe to YouTube. Like us on Facebook, and
follow us on Instagram.
See you guys later.
Truth is harder than a lie. The dark seems safer than the light. And everyone has a heart that loves to hide. I'm a mess and so are you. We've built walls nobody can get through. Yeah, it may be hard, but the best thing we could ever do. Bring your brokenness and I'll bring mine. 'Cause love can heal what hurt divides, and mercy's waiting on the other side. If we're honest, don't pretend to be something that you're not. Living life afraid of getting caught. There is freedom found when we lay our secrets down at the cross, So bring your brokenness and I'll bring mine. 'Cause love can heal what hurt divides, and mercy's waiting on the other side. If we're honest, it would change our lives. It would set us free. It's what we need to be. So bring it.